We're here today, December the 8th, 2022, at truly a living legend, Mr. Willie Pyfrom, Band Director Emeritus at Belle Glade Central High School. We're going to be interviewing Mr. Pyfrom for the Florida Bandmasters Association Legacy Project. So, Mr. Pyfrom, how are you doing? How you
I'm
feeling?
wonderful, man. I am wonderful.
You look great.
Yeah, 85 and still alive.
85. Do you remember the first time we met?
I had a band festival.
Yes,
You-
that's
you
right.
knew.
I was the band director at Ely High School, and you were at Glade Central. I met you at the Boca Raton Cavalcade of Bands. It was great.
All right.
Now, so the way it works, I'm just going to ask you a few questions, and then we're going to get started. First of all, tell me a little bit about your background, where you're from, where you were born, and how you first got into being a band director or interested in music.
I was born in Miami, Florida, but my family moved from Miami when I was little. I really don't know when we moved as a family from Miami. I grew up. My grandmother. I was raised by my grandmother, and she moved to a place in down in Palm Beach County called Bean City, and we stayed in Bean City until 1941. That's when I moved. The family moved to Belle Glade, and she became a entrepreneur in the restaurant business, and we stayed out there until really 1989. That's when I moved from Belle Glade, high school, elementary school. I grew up in Belle Glade. That's a farming town, being a little town right on Highway 27 going north. So I grew up there, and we moved to Belle Glade in 1941 when I was 5 years old. Then when she moved to Belle Glade, we grew up and we were in Belle Glade until my adult years in 1989 when I moved from Belle Glade to West Palm Beach. But I grew up in Belle Glade, elementary school, high school. I went to a school in Belle Glade, an old school, and a segregated school back in the day. The school was named Everglades Vocational High School for color. Everglades Vocational High School. And I finished high school at Everglades Vocational High School. That was before Lake Shore High School. I graduated from Everglades Vocational High School in Belle Glade in 1952. And went to Florida A&M University and graduated from FAMU in 1954. I graduated in 1954, excuse me. I graduated from EVH in 1954 from Florida A&M University in 1958. When I went to Florida A&M, it was FAMC then, Florida A&M College for Blacks. And then in 1955, it became FAMU, Florida A&M University, and that's where I graduated in 58. I had an ROTC commission, and I went in the military and stayed in the military to 1960. When I came back home out of the military, I took a job as an itinerant music teacher in Palm Beach County. In fact, I think I might have, I know I was the first itinerant music teacher, and I traveled back and forth to schools in Palm Beach County with on that job until I only did that for 1 year. Then they opened up a job for me at Eastlake High School, where I became the first band director at Eastlake High School. Eastlake School, because it was 1 through 12, and I stayed there until 1958. When I moved back to Belle Glade and took the job at the newly built Lakeshore High School in Belle Glade for color. That sounds kind of funny now because we, that's in 1970. That's when we integrated the schools. 1970. That's when we integrated the schools, and it became Glade Central High School. And I stayed at Glade Central High School as band director until 1968, 68 school year, 67, 68 school year. And I stayed there until I moved from Belle Glade. I finally moved from Belle Glade. We built a home in Wellington, a new development, a new division in Belle Glade. We built a home there. That's my son. Yeah, we had a home there, and then I moved to Wellington, and I taught there for 2 more. Taught in Belle Glade for 2 more years, and I moved to West Palm Beach.
What is your instrument, and what grade did you first started learning music and participating in band? Who was your first band director?
My first band director was a guy named Marion Hamilton. He was a social studies teacher and a banjo player. He was not a music major, but he was a banjo player, and I guess he took the job. He really was not too much into the band field. Actually he really knew too much. He didn't really know too much of anything about band, how to teach the instrumental music and that kind of stuff. But I started on the trumpet in 7th grade when he came, and he started a band, and he was my band director all through high school. And when I took a band scholarship to Florida A&M College in Tallahassee from Dr. William Foster, and the rest of my music career is history. I graduated from Florida A&M in 1958 and came back and took the band job, the itinerant band music program, where I taught schools, the elementary schools, taught music in the elementary school band. In fact, one of my former students, who was later legendary, Alice Davis, was one of my first students. But the rest of them didn't go into band, but he was my first band kid.
Who were some of your early influences in your life as it relates to music, and why were they so influential?
Well, there was no early influence so much to speak of. I learned how to play the bugle because I was in the Boy Scouts, by ear, how to play the bugle calls by ear. That's how and why I selected the trumpet. Now, once I got into the band, as I just said, there was basically no real influence in Belle Glade. They had a little band, a little juke joint band. Mm-hmm. They had a trumpet player in there. I don't know if he played by ear, played by music, but he told me what he knew about the trumpet. Now I learned how to play. I learned trumpet sound from the mouthpiece on the bugle, and then when I got into school, when the school started the music program, we got in the program. I was in 7th grade then, and I started. The guy used the band book, Easy Steps to the Band. That was my band book, and I'm going to say I struggled through that for some years because my band director couldn't tell me too much on what was going on with the trumpet, armature, and all the information we teach kids in the beginning program. So we were just kind of like no man land. I remember. I remember later I made the all county band, and just reading, I'm not putting that in my band director because he was like my father, like band directors are. He was like my father. He took me to everything he could take me to. He went to all the clinics. But I was in the all-county band, and we played a march, the little champ march. Dee, 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 dee. And I was sitting in the band, and Miss Leander Kirksey, legendary band director in Palm Beach County from Roosevelt High School, Industrial High School in West Palm Beach, Florida A&M. I understand from him, he said he started the music program at Florida at FAMC. And but he was the band director for the all county band, and I'm not, as I said, my band director was like my father. We stayed together. He took me to everything. He took me to everything he could take me to so I could learn and become a little bit better at the trumpet. And the reason I said he went into, we learned the Little Champ March in 2/4 time. But it was a cut time march, and at that point in time, my band director, he didn't know too much. That like I said, I love the man, and I'll talk about him later because he also became my first principal. When I took the job, he saved the job for me, and so I took the band at Estrella. I learned the Little Champ March in 2/4 time, which was a cut time march, and we never learned anything. And in all county band, when we played the march, the band in the rehearsal, the band started playing the march, and I played the march in 2/4 time, and I guess you know where I was. And the rest of the band was playing in cut time.
Yeah, you were behind.
I was behind, and being the little hot shot trumpet player from Belle Glade, from my high school, I'm looking at the guy and saying, "Man, you guys are playing this thing wrong. that's too fast." I'll never forget that. And I said, "Oh, that's in cut time." I said, "What do you mean by cut time?"
Yeah.
And that was the first time. Well, you want some more? That's the first time I heard about cut time. And from that point on, I went back to tell the band that about cut time. And so, being a student, I'm gonna say I was kind of scholarly of the trumpet. I asked anytime I would see somebody who could play trumpet, I had a lot of questions. And I was recommended the Auburn trumpet method book. The Auburn. And I bought one, and I took it to my band director, and he said, "That's too advanced for you. You'll learn that when you get in college." Well, when I got to college, everybody was playing almost through the Auburn book but me.
What was the differences? Because when you were in band and when you first started teaching, it was integrated with integrated schools, and there was no merger. You said you was in the all-county band. Was this all-county band
for blacks?
That's what I'm saying. So everything was separate. The all-county band, the all-state band.
Well, see, when I was during that time, the band directors, there were two band directors. That was the Florida Association of Band Directors, and that was the Florida Band Directors. So FABD, the Florida Association of Band Directors, but we also was the Florida Music Educators Association. It was a black association of black band directors and all that kind of stuff. So there was only black kids in the all county band when I was in high school. Cause we tried to emulate all the things that the Florida Bandmasters Association was doing. We copied everything that they were doing. We were a different association, and we tried, we mimic and copied everything from them until the integration in the 70s when we became members of the Florida Bandmasters Association.
So there was no downsizing as far as quality or venues or audience. Was there any major substantial difference between the Florida Directors Association and the Florida Bandmasters Association?
The basic difference is that we were different. We were two different organizations. We were the black organization, the Florida Association of Band Directors, and then and they were the Florida Bandmasters Association. And the same thing about the Florida Association of Music Educators, and then the Florida Music Educators Association. So we tried to have our little thing. We copied pretty much, and we had clinicians all coming from the Florida Association of Band Florida Music Association, and so that's the way we were when I first started teaching in 1960. We didn't. I don't think we really grew together until the early 70s. That it became the Florida. We started going to the clinic, and we became one organization. I had some material that we had, but it was that kind of thing. We used it. We used them. They were the band director. The white band director was the clinicians. None of us was clinicians, but we would invite them over to our little festival as clinicians, and that it was the two associations that was back in the early 70s, right?
So when the two associations were separate, based totally on color of skin,
Mm-hmm.
you still invited the Florida Bandmasters Association directors who were white to clinic your kids who
Right.
were.
Right.
Did they ever exchange that with the black band directors being invited to go to the Florida Bandmasters Association?
Not until we integrated.
Mm-hmm.
Not until once we integrated, and that must have been in 72, 73. I don't really recall when we integrated that. Then we started going together with them, and there were some great bands in that day. The Stanton High School band out of Jacksonville, the Jones High School band out of Orlando, the Industrial High School band out of West Palm Beach, EVH. In fact, that time I was band director at Eastlake Middle School, and we had our little festival, and they would come. The white band director would come on and judge our festival, and we got our ratings, and we went to our state festivals. But they were still different, segregated state festivals. And
so you the majority of your career was at Glade Central High School. Who are some of your former students, and some of your students that went on to do great or had great career outside of Belle Glade?
well, I think probably the greatest one was Dr. Ronald McCurdy. McCurdy became for about 6 years, he became the chairman of the International Jazz Association, and he became international, and he was the international president that went abroad, and he still is involved. He's not that anymore. He's the head of the music department at California, not UCLA, the other big school in California.
USC.
What's that?
USC.
What went in?
USC.
USC. Yeah, he's associate chairman of the department at USC right now. I think he told me a couple of weeks ago he's in Europe right now. But he became, for about 6 years, he was the international president of the International Association of Jazz Educators. So and that would probably be the biggest name, but well, my kids have done quite well. Most of them have got 3 or 4 doctors, got the doctorate degree in music.
There's a great shortage of teachers throughout the country. People are leaving the profession. This also affects the music, and fewer and fewer kids are playing or participating in sports. You've seen a great deal of changes in the band world over the decades. What advice would you give to a new and upcoming future band director?
Well, you know, I'm gonna use the old phrase, seeking you shall find. I ask a lot of questions. You know, if you knew something, I'm gonna ask you something. I learned from a lot of people, and that's what you do. You know, learn, go to school, go to grad school. But see, right now, the sky is the limit for what you can do. I'm just looking at I talked to Dr. McCurdy, and it pleases me greatly to say that, you know, him being one of my students. But he's doing things right now. He's in the classroom. He's not teaching students right now. He's an administrator. But I got a couple of kids. I looked with tears in my eyes to see one of my tuba players, and tuba teacher at the University of Alabama, Clayton Maddox, and one of my trumpet players was Dr. Sam Rowley. He was the president of Palm Beach Atlantic University here. He was chairman of the music department here. So they're scattered all over the place, doctors, lawyers. My son, he was in the all county band, played percussion in the all county band, but he's a retired military colonel. So, you know, they are the influence, and it spread it wide, and I hear so much. One of the phrases I hear in my life, Mr. Pyfrom, if it wasn't for you. But I'll tell these guys, you did it. You know, he became a colonel. He spent 32 years in the Army doing the right things, and these guys got Dr. Rowley, and Dr. Maddox, and Dr. Lawyers. Got the girl that picture up on that frame up there. She's a real doctor, one of my clarinet players. And the success is just phenomenal. The success is phenomenal. They are college presidents, doctors, lawyers, military. They all over the place. And I try not to take the credit for their work, the work that they've done for themselves. They said, you know, it's my teaching, but it was their work, and they had done a marvelous job, and I feel so good about it. I really do, because, you know, we had a little saying in band when I was there: if it is to be, it's up to me. You know, if you go, you got to do it. You know, and it's they've taken the message and done real well with it, really well.
Well, that concludes the interview. I know you have a lot of probably favorite quotes and tidbits. As you recall, as you sign off, what would you like to tell the band directors? How many years now? You retired and went back to work. Retired and went back to work. How many years total did you teach students? Of all levels?
Basically, 60 years.
60 years.
Yeah, in the Palm Beach County school system.
You taught all in Palm Beach County.
All in Palm Beach
60
County.
years.
60 years.
All band.
All band.
Right. So I doubt very seriously if we're going to see that type of career duplicated. So speaking to the younger generation, what could you say to them in the world we live in the world we live in now, to inspire them to continue the struggle or the joy as it relates to music education and being a music educator for their career longevity?
Well, the ones who are still out there, and I think you know Charles Moore up there in Hollywood, he's one of my students. Keep on doing what you're doing. Seek, you know, study, keeps you studying, you know. The world that, you know, to continue to grow. You know, you just don't know how you can go, but just don't give up. You know, seek and you can ask a lot of questions, but go to school. But that's what they're doing right now. You know, because Dr. Rowley, Dr. Maddox, Dr. Johnson, Dr. Warren Pyfrom, he's a military colonel, but he got his law degree. My daughters, you know, almost all the principals in the west side and the Belle Glade side of Palm Beach County for kids, former band students of mine. I understand there's something happening this weekend for me, but I understand name of the building or a room or something, but I understand that's happening Friday, tomorrow?
Yeah, I heard about that. They're naming a suite in this other school in your honor.
Yeah, well, that's, my thing was to be sure that my kids was not shortchanged in the classroom. I asked a lot of questions. I went to a lot of clinics. I went to school. I studied under John Painter, Frank Ben Crusillo at the University of Minnesota. Some of the top band directors, college band directors. I studied under most of the guys at the University of Florida. Names don't come to me now like I want them to come to me because I'm 86 years old, but I feel good. But I seeked out the best. I went to all the clinics. I talked to all the people. I got a ton of books. I'm gonna invite somebody to come take them who's still in the field that they can use and help with their kids, because I open myself up to work with. Yes, call me if you need me. Call me. I'll be there. So I'm working right now. Well, you saw I was working last year with the middle school program, and it's just I'm still enjoying it.
Good.
I'm still enjoying it. I'd rather do that than sit up in, the old saying in the black neighborhood years ago. I don't know if you ever heard it. Say, well, brother Womack, I'm just waiting for the Lord to take me. I'm not. All is waiting. But we don't have a whole lot to. I don't have a whole lot to. We don't have a whole lot to say about it. That's God's will. So I'll continue to grow and do what I do. I still practice on my trumpet. I don't play like you play, but I still try to play all the things. Out of Auburn, I played Auburn 3 or 4 times. Yeah.
Well, it has been a truly honor and a blessing to our association, the Florida Bandmasters Association. They have this opportunity, and we're so grateful that you gave up your time to allow us to interview you for the Legacy Project. And I'm sure that this video will be stored in the archives for future generations to share, to learn, and admire your work. And your work will continue on. This has been Antonio Womack for the Florida Bandmasters Association Legacy Project with the infamous Mr. Willie Pyfrom. Thank you.
Thank you.